Okay, I think I'm live, hopefully. If you've just jumped on, say hello. Need to make sure that I'm seen and heard. And that I'm not watching myself. That's helpful too. Hello, Susan. I assume you can hear me all very well. Give me a thumbs up. Can you hear me? I'm not getting any thumbs up. Hello, Shell. Someone let me know you can hear me. Ah, good. Thank you, Susan. Beautiful. You have to excuse the tickle in my throat. I am recovering from the lurgy. So welcome, welcome. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. Hopefully there's a few more people joining us. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to clear gesso my page before I get on with anything. Hey, Michelle. So, yes, we are doing a bit of a Lindys. I've got a bit of a shadow there, but I can't help that. Bit of a Lindys display today. Oh, hello, Tegan. Nat's done a Lindys thing today, which was a surprise, as much of a surprise to me as it was to you. And I'm just going to move my light down a bit because I feel like I'm painting in the dark. I am, but not actually. Happy Thursday indeed. So I'm working, I thought I would show you how I work with magicals in my craft journal. Now, as you know, craft journals are super thirsty. So, and if you use gesso with magicals, it does change it because it doesn't soak in, but I don't, sometimes that's okay. It does give you a different look, but that's okay. Craft gives you a different look regardless of what you're using, so it's only natural that it gives you a different look with magicals. So I know a lot of people struggle to use collage paper with magicals, but I absolutely love it. I love using Nat's collage papers. Actually, I don't think I use any other collage papers with magicals and Lindy sprays. So I'm going to show you how I do that tonight. Now, I'm only going to gesso that part. Hello, Miss Karen Campbell. Hey, Susan. So clear gesso of choice is Dina Wakeley's clear gesso. It is really thin and smooth, and that was so easy to go on, and I barely used anything, and it's drying really quickly. So as you know, Nat has 25% off of all magicals, which is an unbelievable special. So and excuse my frog in my throat. So I'm going to work with this beauty today. So this is Nimbin Queens, and I wanted to use her in this journal because she's a bigger one. I could have used the other ones, but I really wanted to use her and show you how I, and it looks like I'm using this page because I've just gessoed that page. I'm going to do a double spread, but I'm going to show you how I extend my collage paper using magicals. Hello, Faye, welcome. So why that is drying, let me get out my Magicals. So I'm just going to pop this aside and we're going to do a little swatchy. My craft room is an absolute pigsty, so finding somewhere to put something. So what I want to do is collage papers, coloured collage papers, I should say, are really good to give you a starting point, and this is a bit dirty, for your colours. So I've picked one set. I know Nat swatched in her swatch book. I am doing the same as Nat. I'm going to swatch, but I've only got one book at the moment and I've already started my Dana Wakeley's, and I've got so many Magicals. I wanted to do my Magicals in their own separate book. So let me show you what I've got out. So I've got two sets. Now, I'm not going to use all the colours in these sets, but I think these ones were the most appropriate. So this is the Under the Sea set 2. Now, these came out in originally as the sifters, and then they rebought them out in 2 sets of 5. And if you pretty much get both sets, you've got almost one colour for every colour of the rainbow plus a grey. So this one, obviously I was looking for the purples. So we've got sea anemone. Oh, I shouldn't really pronounce these because Susan's watching me. Amethyst, jellyfish sting pink, yellow tang yellow, manta ray grey, and octopus eyes aqua. They're actually not too bad. I really liked the purple and the grey in this set for this project. I also might use a bit of pink. There is a little bit of pinky tones in there. So that's the set I'm going to use. I will swatch them all so you can see them all. I've also grabbed 3 other magical shakers. So these are the new containers. And I've got one which is Water Lilies Lavender, which is from the Monet All Day set, which is gorgeous. It was that bit of a deeper purple that I'm looking for. Hi, Desiree. And then these are from one of the new sets, which is Boho Dreams, not the brand new set that came out today. If you haven't seen, Nat will have that in store for you in a couple of days. This is the last release. And it is the Boho Dream set. So it's just 2 from there. That's Wanderlust Wisteria and Dreamy Desert Rose. So I was looking for those pinky purple tones. I also have grabbed out a spray, and this is Steampunk Sepia. So this does have a few brown tones in it, but I don't want a really browny brown. So thanks, Tegan, my Link Ninja. So yeah, I use this one all the time, and I'll show you a few different things. So let's swatch first. Now, I used to have this really awesome little metal little scoop, and I have misplaced it. Obviously, it's in a very good spot somewhere. So I'm just going to use a palette knife. Oh no, I'm not. I'm not even going to do that. I've got shakers, so let's go with the shakers. So I will do the yellows just so I can show you the colours that they are. So this is the yellow. I don't normally swatch this many. Sorry, I don't normally make up this many. I normally use a smaller set, but I am going to use some of this grey. So I use a bit of that. Now, if you have not seen Magicals before, jump onto Nat's YouTube channel because she's got lots. But these are the new shaker jars, and the shaker jars are 2 things. One, they're shakers, so you've seen me do that. The other one is they're a pot. So you can just take the lid off like this, and I really picked the wrong one to do because I'm not doing too much of that blue. Let me try a different one. So I'll probably use a good amount of this. So we've got the lids here, and all I do is just pull that off there, and then you've got your pot. So you can grab a fair bit more if you wanted. So it's like a 2-in-1. It took them a long time to find these jars, I believe. They've used a few different ones over time. And I think these ones are a definite winner. So most of these are shimmers. Actually, I believe they're all shimmer ones. But Lindys Magicals come in both flats and shimmer. And I think Nat used some flats today. So if you missed Nat's live, she did a mini art journal page, and she used and a few other things, and she used some flats. All right, so this is this is a beautiful color. It's Jellyfish Sting Pink, and you can tell by how much is left in this tub shaker. That's one of my ones. So these, as you can see, I'm not using very much powder at all. It does, a little goes a long way. So these, compared to the old pots, these have a lot more powder in them. So that's why you'll see a price difference in the old pots compared to the shakers. Plus they have two functions to them. So I'm just wiping my palette knife off on a piece of paper towel off the side here, just so that I don't put different, I haven't done it very well either. So I don't put bits of different pigment in my jar. All right, so now we activate. Move those out the way. So, pipette, clean, tap water. Now, the more water you add, the lighter your colour becomes. So you can always add more. I'll use a bit more there because I want that grey to be quite light. I'm going to use a fair bit of that purple, so you can have a fair bit of water in there. So you can make your own tones with your Magicals. Now, these are very versatile. Magicals and sprays are so versatile. My tip to you all is to play with them and use them, because you will learn to do different things with them by playing. All right, a bit more in there and a bit more there. Okay, I've got two pots over here to the side. Hopefully I don't need to blow my nose in the middle. So I'm just going to give, I've got a baby wipe. I'm going to give a nice little stir. That's gorgeous, that blue. I've used that blue on a lot of sea pages. Anything to do with an ocean or a sky, that blue gets used. That grey has a beautiful silver shimmer to it. And this yellow has a lovely gold shimmer to it. I will swatch them so you can actually see. That one actually looks like it's a flat. Oh, it is a flat. That one's a flat. It was just written really small. All right, so I've got one flat, but that doesn't bother me. Like I'm going for the color, not the shimmer. By mixing my shimmers and my flats, it just means I'm going to have shimmer on my page, which is what I want. So just by giving them a good stir, makes all that powder at the bottom activate, and mixing it together gives it the true color. All right, so let's grab a piece of cardstock, which I don't have on me. Yes, I do. So a bit of watercolor paper, and I'm just going to swatch my colors. So obviously, if I wanted it deeper, I just add more powder. So this grey I'm going to be using, and that's nice because it's not too deep. I don't know if you can see the shimmer on the screen there. Now, if I was going to use that yellow, I may Actually, I may. I don't want it too deep, but if I was using it for a sunny, like a more brighter effect, I'd add more powder to that one. Yeah, that purple's nice. This one's going to be punchy. Oh yeah, that is one of my favorite purples. And this pink, check that out. Gorgeous. Nice purpley mauve. And then we've got the soft one. Now that one might, yeah, I'll see how I go. So always swatch your colors before you use them, because the last thing you want to do is put it straight on the page and it's not the tone that you're after. All right, so I'm just going to pop these to the side and bring my journal back and start preparing my collage paper. So is anybody playing along tonight? Is anybody did anybody get inspired? Well, I got inspired to get my magicals out from watching that today. So or has anyone got plans to do that this weekend? For all those with school-aged children, good luck. It is the beginning of school holidays in New South Wales and ACT. I think Melbourne and Queensland are already a week into their school holidays. So I'm just using a wet brush and I'm doing a water tear. It just makes that harsh edge, if I was using scissors, disappear. And we save these two gorgeous girls for later. Now, I do have something on my desk that I'll show you that I've done with Magicals only. And I did it to hang on a wall in my coast van. You're playing along with watercolors. Oh, thank you for that link, Tegan. What sort of watercolors are you using, Teags? All right, did everybody love the new calendar that came out? Isn't that fantastic? I've done the create your own funky fossil one for 2 years in a row, and I have to say this year has just gone so crazy that I don't have time to do my own calendar this year. So thank God. I feel like Nat read my mind when I thought I don't have time to do one this year, and then ta-da, here it is. So I'm loving that. You're not playing along, but you finished a page you did in a class at your local store today. Oh, that's lovely, Karen. Good on you for getting out and doing classes. All right, so that's going to go there. Now I am going to stick it right on there. So I'm going to use my gel medium now. You've got 2 weeks off from the 6th of October, so you're planning on lots of crafting. That sounds delightful, Michelle. I'm going away for the school holidays. So we're actually going to Queensland on Saturday, early Saturday morning. But so I'm going to take a little travel pack with me. I'm not sure that I'll get it out, but let's see. And I'm sorry, I realized I'm crooked. So as we do with normal journals, we go underneath and over the top. We need to seal this with our, so we've prepped underneath with clear gesso for those who weren't here at the beginning. And now we want to go over the top. We need to make sure that our collage paper is sealed on top and it's stuck down well underneath to protect it from the magicals. We don't want the liquid of Magicals, and you saw what happened when I put the water, when I teared with the water. That's what will happen if you put Magicals onto, and you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do a bit of a white gesso. That's okay. We'll work it. So it will soak through, as the gel medium is, it will soak through if you haven't sealed it. So we're going to do that in 2 ways. Now, my girl's now going to have a brown tone to her because I forgot to add a little bit of white gesso underneath. I didn't want it all white, but that's okay. And I'll show you another page I did later that shows how I blend that white gesso into the page. So just because we're putting white gesso on a craft page doesn't mean the whole page has to be craft. So I'm just smoothing it out with my finger, make sure I have no lumps and bumps in there. And make sure we've sealed those edges. I try not to go out too far with my gel medium, just enough that it gives me that seal on the edge there. You're using the 90 watercolor set. Oh, you got the new calendar today. You got 2 packages today, Susan. Did you break your own rule? Or did Nat do a deal after you just ordered and you couldn't help yourself? All right. So as you can see, that's already changed the color of my collage paper, but I'm actually okay with that now that that's happened. It kind of will blend her into the page and make her a bit more the same as how the Magicals go on. So I'm just going to wash my brush out, and then I'm going to get my clear gesso again. Clear gesso. So what we want to do, we've just put gel medium over the top here. Now we've got 2 different surfaces at the moment. This part here that is got gel medium on top, and this that's got nothing. And this part around here that's got just gesso. So I want to even it out. So I'm just going to dry that really quickly. And then I'm going to go over the top with the clear gesso again. So that just brings us back to an even surface. And I'll probably bring it out here a little bit just to cover this. But I'm not going to completely, craft will suck up the liquid of the Magicals, but I'm not going to completely go all out there. It actually gives a bit of a two-toned effect if you have a bit of gesso and then not gesso, especially when it's clear gesso that you can't see. Excuse my sniffing. Oh, 1 package, you got 2. Was actually 2. Oh, nice. All right, so that's nice and clear. Sorry, this is the boring part because not much is happening. Well, that you can see, the colours aren't happening. But I just wanted to show you how to prepare your page when using collage papers and Magicals. So again, we're not using a lot, but we're going over the top again with the gesso. So gesso is the underpants for your journal. So we're giving it a layer of protection. And this one has double protection because it's got gel medium to seal it. Now, unless you are the most perfect painter, which I don't think anyone is, you probably will get a little bit of bleed through. in some parts. Most of it you won't. But some parts, if you haven't put enough gesso or gel medium in certain sections, you may get a little bit of bleed through, but that's okay. You can make it work. It's only paper. So I'm just going up here a bit more just to cover that gesso, that gel medium that's on there. And then I'm just going to flick out to the side here. And as you can see, I'm really not using a lot of the gesso, and it goes a long way. So that's probably all I'm going to do. Just clean it off my brush, stick it in my water. Right, we'll dry that off, and then let's get some colour on here. Oops, I forgot to put my phone on silent. Just give me 2 seconds, everybody, because my son's coming home from a camp. Can you just message Thomas and tell him I'm doing a live? He's going to be really late, apparently. Sorry, my eldest is at a camp in Sydney. He's been up there for 2 days, and he's just come up on my watch to say that they're going to be super late. My husband was picking him up at 9:45 at the train. So obviously the train back to Canberra was late. And I forgot to turn my camera on my phone on do not disturb. So he was pretty excited, but he's going to be absolutely buggered. I had to have him at the train station at 6 o'clock on Wednesday morning. They were up at 6:45, which is unheard of for Thomas. 15-year-olds are like bears. They hibernate and sleep all day. And then they're not getting home till after, we won't be getting home till after 10, but he's staying really late. So God knows how late that'll be, but he's not going to school tomorrow, so he can sleep it off. Last day of school. All right, so that's nice and dry. Right, let's get our magicals. Let's get some magic happening. So I am going to paint this on and with my paintbrush. And the reason I want to do that is because I want a bit of direction. So I'm actually going to use a pencil, and I'm going to just draw and extend this out. So it don't have to be perfect. Oh. So I'm just going to extend that up, and I'm going to do that with Magicals. So let's start. Now, I always use a watercolor brush. It wasn't till I actually had watercolor brushes in this shape that I realized that a flat one doesn't work as well. So I'm just going to start with a little bit of this yellow. Now I'm going over the collage paper. Now that's going to be a bit different. I need to add some white up here. So before I go any further, I'm going to grab some white gesso and extend that out. This is what happens when you do a live and you think on the spot. When Nat said I was doing a live today, she goes, I don't know what she's doing. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad she said that, because I have no idea what I'm doing either. So I'm going to give it a light layer of white gesso. And I'm just going to blend that over there just to blend that in together. Now, it's not going to completely cover it. If you've ever looked up really close at any of my art journal pages that have are being done with Lindys, you can see the line. But you can fade it in pretty well so that from a distance, if it's hanging on a wall, and I've got two big ones on my wall here, that I can't see the line. So you can blend it in, but depending on what you're using, you'll still be able to see it. But you know what? What's a little line between friends? It's not like we're pretending that we painted this girl. I mean, that's not my superpower. I can't draw. And I can draw Mickey Mouse, sorry. I learned to draw Mickey Mouse. His head, just his head, not his body. And in the past year, I've learned to draw some Pokemon as well. My son's got a how to draw Pokemon book, so I have to do drawing with him. But you won't find Pokemon in my art journals. Maybe I should. All right. So I'm just going to extend that out there. It's very, very light. Alrighty. I have been thinking, my husband and I have both been doing the same thing all week. We've been a day or two ahead of ourselves. And then I was putting the little one to bed last night, and I said, see you in the morning. And he said, no, Mummy, I'll see you at school. And I realised I put my name down to be the mystery reader at kindergarten. So I'm going in to read to the whole kindergarten unit, and he asked me to do it ages ago. And he thought it was Friday yesterday, and he burst into tears and said, I was so excited. I thought it was going to be Friday tomorrow. And then tonight, I went to say goodnight to him, and he's completely forgotten about it. Said, I'm going to be your mystery reader tomorrow. Oh. All right. There's not much on there, so let's try that again. So I'm grabbing that yellow, and I'm just going to, we can go over the top of our collage paper because we have sealed it. And that's how you're going to blend these together. And I may even grab a bit of the brown as well in there. So I'll just replicate what's already here. And a little bit more up there. So we'll let that part dry. Now I'm going to start with the flat purple. So you can see there what's happening. That's my purple that's got gesso, that's got no gesso. And actually, this is soaking that in a lot more than I thought. So bear with me. I'm going to dry that, and I'm going to put clear gesso over the whole page, because this Dina Wakeley journal is much thirstier than the Uniquely Creative journal. It takes, I've done a whole art journal page, and it takes the don't mind my squeaky chair, it takes the Magicals quite well without gesso. This one, a little bit different. So you can see there exactly what that was going to look like with the two different surfaces. So I'm just going to quickly just even that all up. So what will happen is that instead of bleeding through our pages, the colour's going to sit on top. You know, if you ever had to gesso something 3 times on a live, this Dina Wakley stuff is the good stuff because it goes on so quick. And I only need a quick layer to get it on there. So sorry ladies, working on the fly here, and it just didn't, the purple and the craft just wasn't doing it for me. Not at all. It was definitely not going to be a nice purple. Now, when I'm working in journals and with magicals, because of the water, I always like to clip. In the little journals, I actually put down some, and I'll probably do that with this one actually. I put down a piece of paper towel underneath, just so that if any goes over the edge, it soaks it up rather than soaking into the next page. But I also clip down my edges, just so that it stops that curl that normally happens when water hits pages. So that's that done. Oh, hi Janine. Don't be sorry for being late. You would have just missed me gessoing 100 times. So I'm just going to pop a little bit in there like that. And then I'm going to clip that up there. And it's just enough to keep it flat, because if I don't have it flat, it's going to send my pages. Now I just got to move this out the way. It's going to send the magicals inwards. So that's better. All right, back to where we were. The purple. So I'm going in up there. See, that's a lot nicer than what I had before. So I'm going to go in up there. I'm going to go over that white edge. Now the beauty of, now I feel like I need a bit of a deep blue. So there's definitely blue in there. I'm just going to grab a magical. I haven't labelled these, so they're hard to see from the bottom end, but I'm pretty sure that one. So I've got Darcy in denim. Let's just quickly add that one up. Pop that one in. Oops. Sorry for the out of focus there. Yeah, definitely need that bit of blue, and that other blue that we've got there is just not the right colour. And my pipette has jumped away. All right, bit of water. Yes, that's beautiful. All right, so we'll quickly give that a stir. Activate all that powder in there and bring back our little swatch. So here's our colours as they're dry. Oh yes, there we go, perfect. Put that out the way, and actually I might just leave this here for the moment. All right, so I'm actually going to change to a slightly bigger brush, otherwise we'll be here all night. So I just start layering little bit by little bit. And I can go over this to blend it in. And then I can bring a bit of water in there. Add a bit of that blue up here and around here. So what I'm doing is replicating or trying to replicate the colours in my collage paper and just extend it. Now, the trick with this is that you want to dry and layer. I'm actually running out of room, so I'm just going to dry that off enough, because what happens with what Lindys are a dye-based pigment, and because they're dye-based, that means they're permanent, which means that once I dry this, it's going to stay on that bottom layer and I can add another layer. So it does, now it's going to be different than if I just did it straight on there. It's changing as it dries. All right, that's enough. I don't need to do it completely. So I'll grab that bigger water brush and bring some more of that purple. So I'm not worrying too much about the edges. I'm not worried about this part of the edge. I'm going to bring it out here. I'm going to add a bit of this purple in. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? So I'm dabbing it on just in a and putting it onto the collage paper. Sorry, I can't talk and do at the same time, apparently. I think that purple's much better than the other one. So just extending it out. This is Luna. I'm watercolouring with Mum. It looks awesome. Oh, thank you, Luna. You're a good little crafting companion, aren't you? All right, so there's our colours out there. Now I'm going to add a bit more of that blue up here. Extend that down a bit up there. All right, so I'm just going to blend that out a little bit. Give it somewhere to run. And over here, give that somewhere to run as well. And I'm going to give that layer a quick dry. Now, I've got all my cords tangled under my desk. Now I'm going to grab an extra piece of and just dab those. Just don't want that to soak into the spine. Now, as this layer's drying, that beautiful parrotfish purple has got a beautiful pink shimmer to it, so it's drying on top of the page. What are you doing with your watercolours, Tegan and Luna? Someone else said they were crafting too. Karen, what was your crafting? What was your page you were doing today? So this isn't taking too long. My page is not actually wet because I have gessoed. See, this is in the paper, so that's actually gorgeous. And that's what I want. I picked this collage paper because it's got those paint marks on them, basically. Now, I'll give you a little tip when you're using metal clips on your collage papers. Don't touch them after you've used your heat gun until they've cooled down. Learn from my mistakes. Sorry, you're watching paint dry here, but it's all about the layers in this one. All right, so a bit more of that blue up here. Bring that down. And then a bit more of that up there. So this is just my base. I am going to blend other things in, but I just use my base, my Magicals, to create my background. And it's so easy, like I'm actually just following that line that's created by itself. I'll just get that out of there. Now the trick is here, I mean, you can still see where the collage paper is, starting and ending, of course. When we get to the next thing, which is like when you do stamping and stuff, you stamp over the line. That's what will cover you. So let's add a bit of this grey in here. See if we can get a bit of that. So this grey's got a lot of shimmer in it, but it's like a purpley tone grey. You were painting under the sea themes. Oh, that's great. That's convenient, being I'm using under the sea Magicals. So just blending that in there. And these dots that are in the collage paper as well, we're going to use those as well. We're going to extend those onto our page. So you can see there's not really much rhyme or reason to what I'm doing, but using my collage paper to guide me. And again, it's all about the layers. You're doing a double art journal page. It's Jean who's at the retreat taught. I very rarely do classes like so as aren't many master. Oh, yes, I'm a bit of a homebody too, but that's good that you got out of went out and did something in person. There's nothing like in-person classes, I think. It's nice to be able to do them. I love doing them online because I don't have to pack everything up and I can just sit here in my craft room and do them. But it's also nice to be able to do some in classes, in store, in person. I taught here in Canberra 2 weeks ago now, and I came crashing down sick the week after. Well, actually, I probably started on the day after. At the ACT Stamp Camp retreat that they have in Canberra, they asked me to be a teacher. So I taught, I think it was 30 ladies, roughly, over 2 days. Some of them have never done mixed media. Yeah, Nat came and had a stall here, so we introduced them to Magicals, which was lovely because I got to meet some of the lovely ladies in Canberra who I've seen their names virtually before. Oh, that silver has such a gorgeous, I don't know if you can see it, or you can see it on screen. You said to your partner this evening, 8 months to go till I meet you and Tegan and Kraft with Claire as well. Ah, God, don't count that down too fast. This year went crazy fast. I need a break from school and life and football season. But it is exciting. It's nice to have that to count down to. So that will be lovely, Michelle. We'll get to meet you in person too. So super excited for that. Yeah, me too, Karen. But you know, you got to do some with Tammy and Claire last year. So that was nice. Right, I'm just going to tilt that one up. All right, my heat gun is quite hot. So I've got a nice base I'm going to bring, and this part here kind of looks like it's encompassing her. Now, which brush was I using? I love the Art by Marlene watercolor brushes, by the way, but these Lindys ones, I'm not sure if Nat has any left of those. They're actually really nice as well. Oh, that's nice. That was very nice, that color. What is that one? That was the Boho Wanderlust Wisteria. That is actually perfect for this page. And her dress, look, it's like it was made for it. And I'll just add a bit in over here. So each different magical color has its own unique, like if it's got a shimmer to it, it has its own unique shimmer. So they're all different. As you can see, that silver has got a silver, the blue has a silver as well. The purple also has a silver. So I've managed to pick 3 different colors that have silver. Oh no, that's got a purple one to it. All right, so this is where I'm going to start doing a bit more. Now, I could deepen that up if I wanted, but I think I will deepen it up with other things and not my magicals. So I'm going to start by adding some fleeks in and around here, and then I'm going to finish this bit up here as well. Oh no, some of my blue just got into one of my purples. That's all right. And now it's white. That's what happens. Oh no, that's a lighter one. That's okay. All right. One thing I didn't do was much of this pink. Got a bit of pink in there. So I'm just tying in that pink. So every color I use, I tie it in here so that it ties in with this page. I could sit here and do this for hours, by the way, but I won't put you through that. Oh, that pink has just made that for me. Now, I have just splattered onto her head. So if you don't want that to happen, just be careful. We'll cover her up. All right. Now I'm just going to go in just here again with a bit more of that purple. Just to cover that line again. And I think I just put my paper towel in my thing. I did. And then a bit more of that blue. I think I picked my colours really well. I'm really happy with those. So this is why we swatch. And that swatch book that Nat has, I mean, I've got swatches of Magicals that I've just done on made little tags, and they're a pain in the butt because I have to find somewhere to put them, and then I have to get them out and go through them all. But if I had them just in my book, which I'm going to do, have them in my book. Look at that those white bits from that lighter colour there. That's gorgeous too. It's like watching fireworks. Oh, look what that did. Oh, look what that did. All right, I think this is going to be the last of the Magicals, and then we're going to move on because I've been literally doing this page for an hour. I'm not sure if my husband's left yet. I'm guessing not. But the little one is sound asleep. He is so tired, end of term. He normally comes out. I don't know if those of you with children who remember what it's like when they're little and they come out and go every you know, excuse under the sun. My thumb hurts. I need to go to the toilet. I need a drink of water. My leg hurts. I fell out of bed. There's something coming in my room. You know, everything under the sun. This week, today, he came out once, and it's only because he had a fete at school and he forgot to show us the teddy bear he won, and then he's been out like a light. He is so exhausted at the end of term. Look how that looks really good on the screen, I have to say. It actually looks better in person. It's so shimmery. I don't know if that looks as good for you as it does to me, but it is so shimmery. So before we move on, adding anything else to our page, the Magicals need to be dry. So I'm sorry, but this part is a little bit boring, watching paint dry. Interesting watching the Magicals on the craft. Yeah, Susan, it's I've actually been using them more and more on the craft, and I'll show you one in my little Uniquely Creative journal as a sneak peek. I'm trying to be prepared, so I've got things to post while I'm on holidays for the next 2 weeks. But I did it in my little one yesterday, the Uniquely Creative, and I think the Uniquely Creative is thicker cardstock because it definitely didn't soak up like the bit over here did that I started. It did not do that, and I've only gessoed underneath my collage paper. Although I will tell you that I did do a cutout page. I don't do cutout pages normally, but I did do a cutout page, and I have to say I won't be doing another cutout page for a while because my top of my finger is numb. You got 3 of the swatch books, but we probably need about 10 to swatch all your Oh yeah, if you're doing pencils, goodness me. Excuse my sniffing because I've got my head down trying to make sure I've got all these dry bits. Now, I might just leave that for a second because I've got to do this bit up here. So I'm just going to pop the end of my in there. Now, just excuse me, ladies, because I actually have to blow my nose. I'm really sorry. That's really gross, but I can't keep going. All right. Look how splashily that looks. So you could have done that with blues and made it like an ocean. All right. Now I'm going to go back to a smaller brush when I find my smaller brush. What did I do with it? Oh, it's right here. My smaller brush, because I'm going to do these bits here. And I'm going to use that original purple. Now, I don't want too much. So it's like a bit of a teardrop. And this is where I can use those other lighter purples. Doesn't have to be exactly right, but I'm just replicating what's already on. I don't know if you can actually see that one. So they're not perfect, and that one's probably too close to the next one, but that's okay. I'm not even washing my brush in between because they're all purpley tones. And I might even add a bit of purple and yellow together, which makes brown. So I also need to, oops. So do you see what I did there? I put a bit of liquid at the end of that and it wasn't dry. So let me quickly dry those. You got so many sets of pencils, most expensive being the 100 set of luminescence pencils. I've heard of those, but I don't mind colouring with pencils, but I don't know, it's just not my thing. I did one of the Tracy Scott classes and she did a lot of colouring on a girl's hair once, which was great, but it took me hours. Yeah, it's good. I love to see people who can combine their different crafts together. See, that's given a bit of the same painterly effect down there. And I can touch those up with my pan later. Just need it to dry a bit more. Maybe I can just dab that one off. Yep, that works. All right, so that's how we extend that. Now I'm going to grab this sepia spray and I am going to use that yellow. Not too much. But I'm going to just use this sepia as well. Now, one of my favourite things to do with sprays is to actually flick the nozzle onto your page, which I generally do a fair bit. So as I said, you can still see that there's that edge there, but we can also cover that as well. Now, if I don't want that line there, I'm just going to wash my brush and just go over it with water. Just water and just move that edge out. And there goes that edge. Around her head too. All right. Okay, and I will do bring some of this brown out here. So that's just using the end of my... You love the effects on this page. Oh, thanks, Teagues. Or Luna, whoever's saying that. All right, so now we're drying completely. Everything needs to be completely dry. And then we'll be... and look, you can make so many different effects on your page just from Magicals. So you don't need to add a whole heap of extra stuff to it. A little bit of stamping. I'm probably not even going to use a stencil on here, and I actually had stencils out ready to use. Now I will show you a different page I've done using these exact same colors, using the white Uniquely Creative journal, and I sprinkle and spritz them on. And then what I did was I used some embossing ink over the top and some clear embossing powder, which creates a really different effect to using the embossing powder underneath the Magicals. All right, so just finishing off those dry. That really light boho one, that really light one, has really given a nice shimmer and lightness to this page, which brings this in, like it matches, if that makes sense. And I'm nearly done, and then I'm going to get out my archival inks and some stamps next, and we're going to cover some of that edge, and then I'll have to find a quote. So, oh, thanks, Sharon. You love Magicals. Excellent. I love seeing you use the Magicals, actually. You do completely different ideas to me, which is great. You only colour in short stints as your hand ends up dead, so you saw. Yes. So, really quickly, same colours, different journal, different effects. So this is embossing powder over the top with clear embossing powder. See how it brings up the colour? And then I've added the brown over the top. Don't know what I'm doing with that yet, but exactly the same colours, different effect, different background. All right, let's move on. So I'm going to use, I already had an idea. Or maybe I will, you know what? I will use a little bit of stenciling, just a little, because I'm just going to grab, I was going to use that one, but I think I won't. I think I need to use one of, I have an idea. It's not that one. I think it's this one. This is the Sacred Spiral. And I'm going to get a blending brush and hopefully not stab myself in the meantime. And then I'm going to get some picked raspberry. Oh no, maybe tattered rose. Nope, not that one either. Victorian velvet. I might go. Maybe I'll bring a bit of. So I'm going to grab my Distress Oxides, and I'm going to add. I know, it's still usable. Yes, you do need to play with your Magicals more, Michelle. Yeah. I need a re-inker. Not that colour. It's not inky enough. I feel like pink raspberry might be too pink, but let's try it. I think that was... trying to work out where it was. That way. Oh well, can't really see it anyway, so... oh yeah, that's okay. God, I really need re-inkers. Oh yes, I like that. And I'm just going to do another couple of bits of the edge down here. And I'm going to do a little bit down here too to bring that in for balance, but to help cover that edge. Seriously, what is it with my... it's juicy enough. I actually want more of that. I'm actually going to bring this in from the side of her dress. Yep, that's what I wanted. All right. Sorry, can't talk and stencil at the same time either, apparently. Oh yes, love that. I might pop another little bit just in there. So you might find if you do this, you get a little bit of shimmer transfer. I'm okay with that because I like shimmer everywhere. Now I can't find my lid. All right. I'm liking that. But that's all the stenciling I'm going to do. Right. That's what happens when you put your stencils on top of your stamps. So I always use script stamps, and I'm probably going to do the same. I'm going to use this one. But before I do that, I'm going to use this one, which is, oh, I can't remember. Urban Graffiti. Actually, I think Nat used that today too. But I actually want this bit. And this is where we're going to cover up those edges. So I'm going to go with some colours that blend in. So I'm going to go with Funky Fuchsia. Not sure about this purple. Well, let's grab that out anyway. And I need a deeper blue, but I don't think I have a deeper blue. Maybe I'll go with a Balmy Night. That one. Right. And I'm not using a block. Right. Move these off out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to see how I go over that edge. I mean, you can still see it, but it's hiding it. And for balance, I'll put some over here. A bit more on there because it's on there. And then a little over here. All right. I'm then going to go in with the same stamp and this purple. Now, last time I used this purple, it was super juicy. And it still really is super juicy, like super juicy. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the same spot, similar spot next to it, sorry, not the same. Yeah, look how juicy that is. And then blend it in. Down here, keeping with that grouping, and then a little bit up there. All right. The next one, what else am I going to use? Oh, I know what I'm going to use. So I'm going to use this Science Geek one. This one from the Science Geek set. And I'm going to use this Balmy Night. I think it goes that way. Now, I'm sorry I'm stamping on my page with my ink. I ran out of room. Oh, yeah, that's good. Bring that up to the edge. Oh, God, I love this stamp. This is one of my favorite ones. Bit down there. And then again, bring it up into her as well. Oh, what time is it? Hubby's just left. In the middle there. Ah, I see what's happened. He's just opened the door because hubby's left, and doggy will have a conniption if I'm in here with the door shut. So he's just opened the door. All right, put those aside. And then I do want to bring in, that Balmy Night is actually really nice. I do want to bring in my script, and this is where I'm going to bring in the black, as you can see, where we use stamp. So we're getting close to the finish. You've got to go. Okay, thank you for watching. All right, put that aside. Now I'm just going to do some very light scripts. Now I'm going to do some up here, which will help cover that line. And then we'll bring in a bit over here, a bit in that line there, a little bit down there. Balance, we need some over here. Just a smidgen, and then a little bit up here. All right, now, before I add my quote, that's all the stamping I'm going to do. So not too hard once I've got, oh, thank you, Denise. Didn't see you there, my friend. You know, once I've got the magicals on, I haven't really added too much more, and I'm keeping this bit for my quote. So before I do that, I want to replicate these circles. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to get my paint pens out. I might use a bigger paint pen there. Now, replicating that colour paint pen is tricky, but I reckon I want wonder if I could make it gold. You know what? I could make it gold. So, what have I got? So I've got my Life of Colour paint pens, and we need to give them a good shake. So I've got the gold mirror effect, the medium colour one, and it's this little one. Right, so all I'm going to do, activate these babies, is now, because we're working on magicals and we're putting acrylic paint through a paint pen, you're never going to get a true white. It just will not happen. So I'm just adding, as they dry, they will soak in that. And I may go over all of them if I can't handle that being so as white as the other. I probably will. Just go around it like that. So I'm not going to do that all on screen with you guys because that would be boring. So that's all I'm going to do to extend those. So I'm not going to do too many. And then we'll need to dry that again. Oh, that won't take long. So see what I mean? That white is the pink of the colours underneath. Does actually change it. If you really want it white, just do another coat. It doesn't bother me. But that is one thing. I haven't tried the gloss spray over the top. I could have done that, couldn't I? The Dina Wakley gloss spray. So now what I'm going to do is that all of these are going to become gold. So that then I can do these ones gold. Easy. Easy, easy peasy. And then we just use a pen to make sure they're replicated. Just like that. Right, and then the last one, I will just use the little one just to add a small dot here or there. All right, now, quote. So a couple of ways we can do it is, oh, hey, no worries, Faye. So I want to add my quote here. So I generally could use my paint pen, but as I said, unless I'm using black, it's going to change color, which is fine. But my go-to is a sticker or a tag book or a quote book or something like that. So now I have been a bit addicted to these ones by Natalie Mee Scrapbooking, which will be a starter. So that could go nicely, that big positive there. So I might finish that off screen and pop a quote on there, and then I'll just quickly do a little, or I use my big quote book. So to finish that off, I will just grab a black paint pen. I need a Uniball pen. Uniball pen. There we go. So whatever I do above it, I just continue it on. Then it makes it look like it was all that colour in the first place. And as you can see, I'm not being super neat with it. I will go around some of these with that as well, but then I just like to finish because my colours don't go all the way out to the edge. I'm going to take that off there. Look at that blank space there. That's unlike me, but it is sometimes nice to have a bit of white space or craft space in this circumstance. So ladies, if you haven't seen, Nat has the most amazing special on Lindys Gang products. So it includes Magicals. I assume it includes, don't quote me on it, but I assume it includes these Lindys mats, which I have to say is one of my favourite mats. Oops. Because, like, if you saw mine before I went live, you'd realise how much these mats can take. So until for the weekend, so till Sunday. So trust me, if you want some of your favourites that you've had your eye on, 25% is a bloody good discount. I don't think I've ever seen 25% off anyone, anywhere. So that just gives it, tidies it up and finishes the edge off. Oh, thanks, Alana. So I will finish my quote off and pop something on there because I can't think and I need to scroll through my phone. But thank you for watching, and make sure you jump online. Scroll back up if you want to have a look at the sets I've used. So I've used the pinks, the purples from the Under the Sea 2 and the yellow, sorry. I've used some of the boho, the purples and the pinks from the boho Dreams set. I've also used Water Lily Lavender from the Monet All Day, which is a flat set. I also used the grey. And then I used the Steampunk Sepia spray. So I can't tell you what set that's from. So make sure you get those Magicals out and have a play. I believe that there'll be some more lives over the weekend. So make sure you have a look. I think Nat said she may be coming back tomorrow to do something as well. So thank you for watching. And I would love to see the things that you do with your Magicals, even if it's playing. Make sure you get swatching all those things and pop online to nataliemay.com.au to get these gorgeous colours in your stash. So have a wonderful weekend, and for those of you travelling in school holidays, stay safe and have a lovely time with your family. Night all.